Most of us are not raised to actively encounter our destiny. We may not know that we have one. As children, we are seldom told we have a place in life that is uniquely ours alone. Instead, we are encouraged to believe that our life should somehow fulfill the expectations of others, that we will, or should, find our satisfactions as they have found theirs. Rather than being taught to ask ourselves who we are schooled to ask others. We are, in effect, trained to listen to others' versions of ourselves. We are brought up in our life as told to us by someone else. When we survey our lives, seeking to fulfill our creativity, we often see we had a dream that went glimmering because we believed, and those around us believed, that the dream was beyond our reach. Many of us would have been, or at least might have been, tried something if we had known who we really were. Welcome to the 6th episode of the Journey to Creativity podcast. This is a quote by Julia Cameron, the Artist's Way author. This is the book that I found mysteriously, just very casually, at the beginning of this year. I think I could even say exactly which day it was. It was somewhere around January, the first week of January 6th, or January 5th, something like that. And I decided to start taking this course, this book/course, which allows you to precisely do this. Get to know what dreams are those that got lost in the way, and take the dust out of them, make them shine again, and suddenly beautiful things will begin to happen, she says. And when we are a little lost and depressed in our life, we tend to not believe that can actually happen. But honestly, it only takes a little bit of faith, and it's so immensely worth it to try. It has been about 2 months since I uploaded the last episode, the 5th episode, and these 2 months have been very focused for me in this journey in what it is to be connected to others. If you listen to the last episode, you know that at that moment I had just begun, or almost, I hadn't even started it yet. I had only decided that I would begin doing this creative cluster, a creative group of people with which to go through this process together. A group of peers that you can relate to and that can keep you on track with this. And honestly, I had kind of finished the book. I actually didn't finish it, which is something that happens very frequently. If you have read this book and you abandoned it at chapter 2, don't feel bad, because sometimes it's so triggering that many of us need to take it slowly, to take it easy. And there is no rush. No one is pushing you to do it. It's your own choice. It's your life, so you don't have to actually do it in exactly 12 weeks. And I was kind of getting stressed about that. And then on like week 10, I abandoned the book. And then I had not abandoned. I just stopped the process at that moment. And because I was week by week, and doing every day my morning pages of writing. And I did kind of like stop there. Life distracted me. And also I had already decided that that I was going to do this with friends, a couple of friends that I knew really were very interested in this. And they really wanted to do it together. So I was like, well, doesn't matter, I'm going to start it over very soon. So I stopped in week 10, around there, and I actually haven't finished the last two chapters, which is very interesting, and I'm excited to see what I will read when I get there again. But community, people, friends, you know what, I don't know, if you have this desire to do something and you are afraid of being seen because you are afraid of making so-called mistakes or not being good enough or being criticized by other people, yes, you can hide. You can hide for so many years. You can hide your entire lifetime. But you know what? You can keep that fear still as a first step. Just keep it. Believe that it's there, acknowledge that it's there, and maybe start very, very quietly, very shyly, start drawing or writing or taking some photos. Maybe you'll take a class and train yourself because you are certain that you're not good enough. So you need lessons, you need classes, and you'll start doing this on your own, kind of with very little exposure. And you will grow. You will get better for sure. You will improve your technique for sure with a teacher, with a guide, with taking a class online or whatever. Your skill level will improve. But what will not improve though is your courage. And what happens when we expose ourselves to a community, when we expose ourselves and we just are real and we're like, you know what, I actually don't know how to do this, but I want to try, I want to play the game, and no one will care, first of all. People can actually, there is people out there that is not going to judge you for trying, for being brave and courageous and just trying. And something beautiful happens when you expose yourself. You come out of your shell. You dare to connect. You dare to do it with others. And it's that fear that is still there, but somehow becomes excitement. And it becomes an adventure that you're walking together with other people. And then your growth is so much faster than if you were taking the lonely road. I started experiencing this with a creative cluster. We started it 2 months ago, and we are on like week 7. So 2 months became 7 weeks. Actually 6 weeks, and which is fine, it's okay, but because we are not strict with each other on this, because all that matters is that we are together in this. This creative cluster just really opened my eyes to this. I guess I hadn't talked about this with other people, and I don't know why. I mean, I had told some people because of my natal chart, my astrology chart, my planets, my stars, you know, I kind of had a little bit of a clue about having a sort of blockage around expressing myself and expressing my art and feeling not good enough and stuff. And I actually felt that way. So, but that's all I knew. But for some reason, I didn't know that a lot of people were experiencing this. So the book opened my eyes to that. And then we started this creative cluster. And then what happened was that the creative cluster was for each of us, not just for me, it was the medicine for loneliness. Because in it, we began sharing many intimate stories about our lives. We began sharing time together, having fun, and doing this creative workshop together. We started sharing our experiences so we could relate to each other, and that made us feel I'm not alone anymore. I don't feel alone anymore in this process, and that is huge. It's huge. That's what community does. We don't only just inspire each other, and that's what happens when you are in community with a group of people that you can actually connect with, and that not only that, but you keep each other accountable. So, for example, we began first off sharing our experiences and telling our stories, and we held space for each other in terms of grieving that time lost, because that is a big part of being a Block creative person, or with any blockage that you might have in life in any sense. It doesn't have to be necessarily something artistic. I always every now and then I like to remind you guys of this, that creativity applies to business. Business is so creative. It's such a immensely creative arena. So we've held space for each other to because we understand how it feels. And I feel like this more intimate group with my two friends, right, where we just meet in a very intimate manner. We either meet in a park or in either of us houses, but we do it in a way where we can openly and safely express ourselves, and we know that none of us is going to be telling our stories to other people, and we know that the others will understand it and will acknowledge it and listen to us. That's something so human, and that we really need. We need to be listened to, and we need someone else to tell us it's okay. I know, I understand, I feel you, and that's tough, and I understand you because I feel what you're feeling as well. So that is a very important part, especially at the beginning of the process, because you need to grieve the time lost. You need to grieve that, okay, I could have done this still. I just realized that I was blocking myself and I was stopping myself all the time, and I lost so much time, whatever. I have to, okay, it hurts, but okay, I acknowledge it, and then you can keep going. Acknowledge it, grieve it, and then you can stand up and start doing something. And then when you stand up and you start doing something, that's when you start opening your eyes, because now you have a more positive attitude, whether you want it or not. Since you have acknowledged your pain, you can't help but feel relieved now, and start seeing that actually there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Actually, the light was around you all the time. It wasn't even at the end of the tunnel. There was no tunnel. All that you realize that there are opportunities and there are possibilities out there, and suddenly you remember that there is this group where you can go improvise. That's what happened to me. You remember that there's these events in the city where you can go, and you can even sign up for the open mic and read a poem, read a story. You can sing a song, you can do whatever you want. You can rap, you can improvise, right? There are these spaces out there, and you have just been blind to them because you were grieved, you were in pain, right? You were in a dark place while being blocked and not acknowledging and not listening and not wanting to know what this inner child within you was going through. You didn't want to even listen to that. You did it, you grieved, you relieved that pain, you let it flow, it healed, or it started healing, because it doesn't mean that there is no psychological process that happens so quickly. So community expands before your eyes suddenly. And for me personally, this the city Calgary was incredibly inspiring to me the first time I came, because back in September 2016, when I came the first time to Calgary, I met a wonderful man who is now my husband to be, which I am very happy about. And he organizes an event every month that's called the Haven Party, and where he and his trio, they play the Haven Vanguard, which is amazing. It's a fusion of jazz, soul, R&B, hip-hop, and these musicians' soul, which they're playing improvised all through the night, which is amazing. Super inspiring, right? You're like, what? They're improvising? They're making it up on the spot? Honestly, that was mind-blowing to me. I had never experienced that. And I was honestly so incredibly inspired, and I allowed myself, I don't know how I did that. I think I was just too in love with Tim, but I dared to get on the mic, and I did a cover song of a Chilean artist. And yeah, I felt so supported by the public. I was like, wow, these people don't even know me, and I don't know how good that was. I was so nervous. I was so scared. I thought it was terrible. That's what you usually think, right? Oh my God, that was so bad. And then people are telling you, wow, that was beautiful. That's amazing. Or even if it's true, if it's not true, if you want to believe it's true, if you don't want to believe it's true, like all of that doesn't matter. But you feel the support of people because you're being brave. You're being brave. You're doing it. So people will cheer you up and will support you, you know? Everyone knows how hard it is to do that. Everyone knows that it takes courage to stand up and do something in front of people if you're not used to that, if it's not something that you naturally do, right? Or that is your job, or that it's something that you are used to doing. If it's new, if it's something that you have been afraid of doing, if it's something that has been taking your freedom away, I mean, that's something that you have been allowing to take your freedom away because you're been allowing this fear to stiff you, you know, and you go and do it, of course people will stand up and applaud you and support you and tell you to just keep doing it, keep going, you know. And that is the immense value of community. Both the artists that are actively performing and the artists that are appreciating the art. They're both artists because we all enjoy, value, and have fun with the same thing. It is so powerful to belong to a community. You feel that you belong somewhere. Your sense of isolation and loneliness, that where you realize that there were ghosts that you had in your eyes that weren't you showing you the reality. And the reality is that there's so much beautiful people out there that want to do the same thing as you, that want to support you and want to be a part of the same thing and want to play this game together. So you will find a place where you belong once you start opening yourself to this. And you will find that you can play the same game. No one will kick you out. No one is going to tell you that you're ugly and you can't belong there. Those are our memories from our childhood. That's not real anymore. This community is so beautiful in the city, and I think I am an outsider who's trying to stay here, and I am not. I am certain that I couldn't talk about the entire scene or the entire community that is in this city. So I want to bring people here to talk about this in this podcast, to tell me more about the community, that we can find in this city that is so rich, is so vast, is so beautiful. There's so much support, and we make it. The people that we are here, the people that go, the people that make it, that organize it, we all have a role in this. We all have a role in this. You never should feel like you don't belong if it's something you enjoy, just by the fact that you're enjoying it and you're supporting even just an event, just by being there, you're part of it. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And once you belong, and once you allow yourself to belong, because it all starts from you. It's your mind that needs to open itself to the possibilities. So you open yourself to belong there. You allow yourself to be a part of it. You find this unconditional support, because you're a gem. If you're trying, you're a gem. You're so amazing. You're so valued. You don't know how inspiring that is. It's even more inspiring that someone that's already good at something, and it's so easy for them to do because they're so good. They've got so much experience on their bodies that it seems to flow so amazingly. But what you admire, what's inspiring there, is how far you could go. But in someone that is starting and that's trying, you get another kind of inspiration. You get that courage inspiration. And when you see people get up on the mic, you see people get on the open mic and just do it, then you think in your head, if you're not trying, you think in your head, oh my God, I can also do it. I could also try. Like, why not? Why am I worrying so much about it? Right? It's so these people that we are trying, that we're just stepping up to do it, we are inspiring those who are not even trying yet, who haven't dared to try it yet. And that's incredibly powerful that we also acknowledge that. So don't ever feel less. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And open yourself to the community. The community is there to support, and because we all want to see the community grow, and you'll meet so many new people, so many new friends. You'll make so much more connections. You'll meet so much new and inspiring and potentially creative partners you'll find if you open yourself to meeting them, right? To knowing who they are, knowing what they're doing, and you might get new ideas and idea babies all over the place. It's something that it just starts happening. People start in these, for example, Cypher Club. This was the last step I took. Cypher Club is starting to go. It's a circle of rap and hip-hop improvisation. So that's what Cypher essentially is. And I would love to have someone here to talk about it more. But let me tell you what my experience with Cypher Club has been. Last year, because last year I hadn't found the Julia Cameron book yet, but I was trying. I'm always trying to do the same thing even without the book. I was trying to unlock my creativity and trying to find what is it that I'm trying to express, and why do I have this urge and feeling alone in it still. So I write to my friend Zoe, who is the one who organizes and who has created this space of Cypher Club. So I write to her because she's she gave me, I don't know, this Leo sort of space of trust. I can't explain why I reached out to her, but I know that many can relate. I felt like she could understand. So I told her, I don't know where to go. I feel so alone and isolated. I had been back in Calgary for about maybe 10 months. So I still was, and I still am, creating sort of my roots and my connections and making myself at home, kind of. So last year, when I reached out to her for the first time, I told her I feel so isolated and alone in this process of trying to find my creativity, and I feel that I need to be a part of something. I need to be a part of something, and I feel that's gonna fuel me. It's gonna impulse my growth in this. And I don't even know which way I'm going, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And of course she understood, and she told me, okay, yes, you do need to go out and be with the community, because that is essentially what keeps us alive and as artists. And she tells me, I don't know if you're gonna feel this or not, or I don't know if it is your vibe, but next Wednesday come to Cypher Club. It's hip hop, but sometimes people sing, and I don't know, like, just come and see if it feels right for you. If it does, just try it. So I decided to try it. I went, and I don't know if anyone remembers me going those first times, because I went like 3 times. I went 1 week, then I skipped the next one, and I went again. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. And then I went on one last time, and then I disappeared until this year. So the first time I went, I was like, okay, everyone's rapping, everyone's improvising to a beat. Like, no one knows actually what they're gonna say. It's a super vulnerable type of space, right? Everyone is just at the moment creating something, trying to do their thing and feel the beat and just be connected with others and be in the moment. It's a very, very powerful being in the moment type of experience. And allowing that to flow, that's something, right? Allowing yourself to connect to that and allowing it to flow. So, of course, I was like, oh my God, this is so dope. I wish I could do the same thing, but I can barely understand what you guys are saying, because I am not a native English speaker. And even though I think I can communicate pretty well in the on a day-to-day basis, for me, hip hop is like a whole different level. Like, you guys have to understand that. And so I was attentively listening and trying to like see where this is going. What's the how do you do this? You know, how do you actually do this? And I've always wondered how people improvise. I've always been so admired by it. You know, think like it's, if you paint, if you write, it's like, okay, it's kind of like a safe environment, but going up there and like musically improvising something, to me, that's out of this world. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. And I tried to rap like a few things, and it was hilarious to me. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try singing, maybe. Can't remember if I tried singing last year or not, or if I did or not. I can't really remember if I tried. The thing is, I tried, and I was so nervous, but I didn't allow that to stop me, and I felt like this fire within me, like I at least I tried, and I was like, my heart racing so hard after I passed on to the next person, like. Bad, my physical state, I felt like, I don't know, it was so intense, and that's why I had to not go every single week at the beginning last year. I just couldn't do it. It was too much, and it was too intense. And then I remember a much more depressed state after that by the end of the year. And this year at the beginning, I just decided to lift myself up. I started to do inner work. I started to do this Artist Way course. I started writing affirmations every day. I started to write what I'm grateful for every day. I started running even. I ran during January. I did that workout. Not anymore. I haven't been able to get back into it, even though the weather is super nice now. I just haven't been able to, but it doesn't matter. But the thing is, I decided to go back to Cypher Club as well. At some point, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm ready now. I'm going to do it. And I went there with a different attitude this time. I didn't go to see what it was, or I didn't go with an enormous fear within me to show myself and to be seen. But I went with the attitude of, I want to be able to flow. I want to be able to connect to this group of people that are putting their hearts out there, that are allowing themselves to move your head at the same beat as everyone else and feel that and connect in that energy and allow whatever it is that is flowing through you to flow. I went with a completely different attitude, and with an attitude of faith and power. I decided to present myself there in an attitude of, I know that God is with me and that it'll flow through me. I want that to happen. I want to be able to improvise. And I did. I started just singing. I randomly mix rapping with singing now. Whenever I feel that I want to rap, I decide to try it. I've even rapped in Spanish one time, but I decided to keep it consistent because I realized that consistency helps a lot. When you persist, you're like, it doesn't matter, you just keep doing it because it's fun and because that connection is important to survive. It's so you hear that so much in the community. Everyone is saying the same thing. I'm so grateful for this space, for this community. I'm so grateful for these people. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who are here and who we are sharing this. And thank you so much for creating this, Zoe. Thank you so much for allowing this space to happen. And Cypher Club is just one place. I'm sure that there's probably tons of things like this, but you just have to kind of dig and find it. That's what I've heard from people here in the city. You have to kind of like find those people that are doing cool stuff, kind of like under the radar, but it's there. You gotta just go and find it. And I'm sure that in every single city in the world is the same thing. There's always someone who gets inspired and sees the need to do something and just decides to own it and make the decision to start and working towards the solution of that problem. I know that Zoe, who created the space for Cypher Club, she is the one who needed it, and she's the one who needed this community to be formed. She wanted this space for her own process, for her own healing, because she needed this. And then she realized that everyone else, there were so many more that needed the same thing, and it just happens, it just happens. The last thing that was born just like this was a new community that I decided to begin to start creating space for. I started like about a month and a half ago, I created the New Moon Gathering idea. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start doing these new moon gathering things, and I'll see what happens. I want to do something creative with people, like talk about the astrology and the new moon and all, but also do something creative. And I don't know, like I had no clear idea, and there was so much support, so many really interested people came, and I'm immensely grateful for that, because I just saw it's the same idea. You see the need for something to be created, and you see that people need it, and you're just like, okay, well, we just need to find a place and do it, right? It's not so complicated. We are also actively participants in creating community. It's not the leading person who actually does much. I think we don't do a lot. I didn't do much in the new moon gathering thing. Zoe, I've heard her say as well, I didn't do anything. Like, I just needed this and it happened. It just happened, and many community leaders talk about the same experience of it's something that we all need, and it it is born because we all need it. There is no actual head of it. So that's why community is so critical for us, especially for artists, for people that are actively sensitive, actively highly sensitive, actively as well, for people that have a sensible soul to art. And we really need this. Like, this is, I always hear Zoe say this, and I believe it's true. We need this to stay alive, because if you don't allow yourself to go through all this process, like what I've been talking about from the very beginning, right? From the very beginning of the process, which is acknowledging your inner desires, getting to know yourself, getting to know what is it that you really are here to create and in your life, because your life is an artwork. So what is that life that you're creating? What is the highest potential for that? And if you silence that and you just remain in the machine of the life, that is so easy to stay in the machine. I'm sure you know what I mean. I'm talking about the system that is external from us, but that is telling us what to do with our lives. So if you allow that to dictate your life, and your life is in danger when you block yourself as an artist. Your life is in danger. This is not even a joke. So allow this process to happen and reach out. I think this is what I want to end with, is reach out to a friend, reach out to community, reach out, because you'll find that you're not alone. You'll find healing, you'll find support, you'll find that you belong somewhere. You'll find that you can play with them, and your growth will be accelerated, but tenfold, 100-fold, it'll be accelerated. You'll expand your art, you'll expand your connections, and you'll not feel that you're alone in this. You're not alone in this. You're so not alone in this. So that is it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening and for opening yourself to my voice and for being with me here. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope it was inspiring to you, and I hope you have a great month. But I will be uploading more episodes more frequently during this month, because I have booked this recording room hard on this month of July because it was all available. So I booked a lot. So I think it'll be not so long. And I'm going to be having a lot of guests in this podcast, because there's so much interesting people that I want to share. I want to talk to them. I want to know what their experiences in this particular process have been, and what they have to say. There's so many people that I want to bring here. So I will be recording hard during this month, but maybe I'll be posting them more gradually. But I'm not going to promise anything. So I'll see you next time. Lots of love, lots of hugs, and just, again, I'll tell you one more time, just in case, just remember, you're not alone.